did that law affect whether people voted either way?
Oh, okay. The difference when you do campaigning, the more money you have, the more influence you have. The more you can influence people. Hence, you put more money into it. People wouldn't fund a campaign if they didn't make money from it. Sorry, they didn't benefit from it. Yeah. So a campaign that was run, and the winners of that campaign.
The question is, you wouldn't be saying this if we remained.
No, you'd be saying it to me. You'd be saying it to me.
Possibly.
And you know what I do?
No, you know what? I wouldn't. I promise I
wouldn't.
I reckon.
I would.
If we remained, and that was the good democratic vote, I would have respected it.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a democratic vote. I don't think a democratic vote can be based
vote.
on lies told to people and breaking of electoral law.
Lies told to people. That's where we get to. Do you concede there are lies on both sides?
Even if that was,
you've said this before.
in the Bible.
So tell me the law. Tell me the lie that you think remains said.
Okay, I've told you £4,300.
No, I explained that to you. That was to do with then.
Okay, but so the government said, the published, that every household would be £4,300 less off if we left.
On a no deal.
They can't know that.
On a no deal.
Well, they can. They can't know that. How do you know that? How can you make that number?
Do you know what a lie is? Do you know what a lie is?
I know what a lie is.
What's a lie?
This may not be a lie, but it's
What's
a clear deception.
What's a lie?
It's a clear deception.
What's a lie?
Unknowingly. Sorry, knowingly.
Say something you know ain't true.
Yes.
It's a lie.
But that is no.
All right.
How do they know?
No.
How do they know? They're making a prediction that they have no basis.
A prediction.
They're making
A prediction is not a lie. It's a prediction.
True.
Right? A lie is saying something you know is
But
false.
it's a deceptive lie. It's a deceptive.
No, you can't say it's a
You
deceptive
can't
lie.
know that. You can't know that.
No, you can say, look, how do you do predictions? You base it on forecasts. How do you do that? You do it on economics and whatever. Yeah. So, for example, let's do that.
I'll give you another lie.
I know.
I'll give you another lie.
No, one second. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example.
I've got
You
loads.
want a
I've got
no-deal
loads.
Brexit.
I've got loads of lies.
You want a no-deal Brexit. Yeah?
Brexit was no deal.
You want a no-deal Brexit.
Brexit was no
According to
deal.
Boris Johnson, it wasn't. And he was the head of Vote Leave. Anyway.
No, he's dealing with what he has now because he has a government.
No. Boris Johnson.
He has a government in the country that undemocratic.
Boris Johnson. Oh, sorry. The parliamentary democracy is undemocratic. Okay. So basically, Boris Johnson was the head of Vote Leave.
He was, yeah.
Right. And he broke the law.
He broke the law.
Sorry, no, the other side broke. Sorry, Leave UK broke the law.
Fine,
Sorry,
fine.
Boris Johnson lied about
Leave
the
UK
bus.
broke the law.
The bus. The bus was a lie.
No, the bus was a prediction. How can you say it's a lie? All right, let's deal with that. How is the bus not a prediction?
Okay, did it not say that the NHS will have this much money every week?
No, it said we would have this much money that we could put into the
Didn't say that
NHS.
at all.
It did say that.
But it said after we leave the EU, that money will be available.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
But we haven't left the EU yet.
And that money will be available.
No, but they've conceded it's
No,
not going
but
to
do
happen
you
that way.
concede that money will be available?
Yeah, and that money is not new money. It's money that's already there that's already been taken away from them. It's not just as simple as there's more money available now. It's money that they've already been.
No, it's money we were.
Speak to the nursing homes.
It's money we were putting to the EU.
Anyway,
And we were saving it. So the bus was a lie.
Yeah. So going back to the original point that about lying, saying something that's not true.
Yes.
Okay. No deal Brexit. Yeah. This is what you want. And according
That's what Brexit is.
all
That's
right.
not what I want.
According to
Brexit
Patrick,
is
all right.
no deal.
According to Patrick Minford, who is Rees-Mogg's chief economic advisor, he said this no deal Brexit will decimate the agricultural and farming industry. Yeah. And fishing industry.
Prediction. Just like you're saying.
Yeah.
I told you I spoke to two farmers that voted Brexit.
Right.
I spoke to two farmers myself.
That wouldn't surprise me. But the point here is this:
Something wrong
someone's
told
saying
you.
to you, this thing, is gonna. Why is it gonna decimate the agricultural industry? Why?
You tell me. I don't think it
No.
will.
Why
You tell me.
did Patrick Minford, economic advisor Jacob Rees-Mogg, say that this is going to devastate the agricultural industry?
I would imagine he's a Remainer.
No. Why did he say it? Well, Patrick Minford, Rees-Mogg's the economic
Well,
guy.
he said it. He said that it's going to destroy all of agriculture.
Agriculture industry, yeah, and he said it's going to go the way of the coal mines.
Okay, you tell me why
Yeah,
you think he said that.
basically tell that to the candlestick maker, effectively. So the point here is this: you are voting for something that's going to destroy the agricultural industry.
In
of this
the view
country.
of one
It's a
person.
prediction.
In this country.
It's a
Prediction of one
But do you-
person.
But do you accept I could bring people like Dyson or people
Right,
who
right.
are raving about it?
But
who are raving
yeah,
about
and he just
Brexit?
moved all his stuff to Japan. Fantastic. So the point here
No,
is
Singapore actually, which is
Singapore,
also
Japan.
outside of the EU, so it's not an EU argument, is it? Because he's going to Singapore.
why do you say it here?
Well, because
Has Singapore got to do with the
is
EU?
not in the EU.
Has it got a trade
So
deal with
the
the
argument
EU?
of Dyson going to Singapore has got nothing
Has
to
it
do
got a
with
trade deal with the
Brexit,
EU?
has it?
Has Singapore got a trade deal with the EU?
Well, has it got a trade deal with us?
No, has it got a trade deal with the EU?
Has it?
And that's the question.
I don't
Well,
know.
you're acting like it's not. So has it or not?
I've answered that question.
Because
Move on.
Dyson knows we may not have a trade deal with the EU. Whereas if you go to Singapore, they do have a trade deal with the EU. Therefore, he can still trade.
I want you to accept the point, because you make it out that on Brexit there were lies told.
No, I don't make nothing out.
But there were no lies.
I don't make nothing out. All I say to you is this: when you make a claim, support it.
But do you accept that there were?
I don't know. Tell me.
Is it by the nature of them being politicians enough?
I don't think it's. No.
No, but so you're saying? It's
Are you saying
possible?
all politicians lie?
No, I'm saying that collectively they would.
Do they all lie?
Do
Do they all lie?
Do
Do they all lie?
they all lie? Probably very rarely. A few don't.
Okay, I'll say it again
But
to
we're
you.
talking about complete political parties.
What do you believe that Remainers were told, or the people of this country were told, that influenced them to remain, that they knew
That
wasn't true?
we weren't going to have an EU army, that we'd need an emergency Brexit the
have
day
a-
after the
okay.
referendum.
Do you
There's
believe?
two.
Do you believe?
There's two.
All right. So you believe we
Do
have
you,
a?
do you accept those two
Do you accept we
examples?
have a veto on
Do you
an EU
accept
army?
those two examples? You asked
No,
the
I don't.
question.
No.
So they didn't. The Remain side did not argue that we're not going to have an EU army. Are you saying that?
That would be the Leave argument.
No, the Remain side. Right, okay. The Leave side argued that we're not going to have that we're going to have an EU.
Right,
army.
that's a lie.
The Remain side said we're not,
Right.
and that's been disproved already.
Really? How's it been disproved?
The Remain side also said we'd need an emergency Brexit.
Are you aware that the UK has a veto on the EU armies, or not?
It doesn't.
It doesn't have a veto. Well, it does. So you're wrong.
It does.
Well, check it out.
Tell us
You're wrong.
about. Tell us
Are you
about
saying
this
it won't
veto.
happen?
No, the UK.
They said it wouldn't even happen.
The
It wouldn't even exist.
Listen.
Juncker said he wants it, and he's the president of the
the UK has a veto about Britain being part of the EU army.
Utter
But
rubbish. That's
if the
incorrect.
president is saying he wants one, should we take it as that's what the EU want?
No.
That's the direction they're
If
going.
the EU wants an EU army, the UK can veto being a part of it. Yes.
True.
Right. So we don't.
I don't
So
believe
so
that is true.
so the idea of an EU army is a Leave lie, not a Remain lie. But that was a threat. If we stay, they're going to make us join an EU army. No, they're not. We've got a veto.
I think for me, the concept of the EU army proves that the EU are not what they started out to be. It was supposed to be like a trading playground, and all of a sudden, an EU army, it's become a
Federalist
political
state.
power.
Controlling our
To
VAT.
me, it's almost like a.
Controlling our VAT. Sorry, what's the? Sorry. Controlling our VAT.
The rules
I
about
have-
what
I
we
have
apply
to demolish
VAT
this for every
to,
point I
and
get.
what we don't apply VAT
What's the lowest rate of
by the
VAT
EU.
according to the EU you can charge?
I don't want the EU to be
What's the
telling
lowest?
me what the
What's
lowest
the
rate
lowest?
or the
What's
highest
the
rate
lowest?
should
What's the
be.
lowest?
I don't want them
What's the
telling
lowest?
us what the highest
Let's
or
throw
the
your red
lowest.
herring
Is
back
it
in the sea.
14?
15%. All right. What's the
Close.
UK VAT?
But it's not just about the
20,
level,
20.
it's about
So
what it's
what-
applied
so what does
to.
the VAT
It's not just the
of the
level,
EU
it's what it's applied to and not applied to.
What
is
is-
it not?
What is
Is
the,
it not?
What
Is
the-
it not?
Listen. I'll
There's
say it
also
again to you.
rules about what it's applied
What
to
is
and what
the
not
relevance
applied to.
of telling me about VAT and the EU set a low standard, minimum standard, when we're above that anyway?
It's also
So
about
leaving
what
the
it's applied
EU,
to and
leaving
what
the
it's
EU
not
doesn't make
applied
VAT
to.
less. It's a red herring. Put it back in the sea, mate. Yeah. What's the other
Love
red
your
herrings you come out
soundbites.
with?
You love your
But
soundbites.
the point
do you accept my
mentioned
point?
earlier about
I love
economics,
logical fallacies. Yeah.
You
I've been
mentioned
in them.
earlier that originally it was the EEC, the European Economic Community. 1992,
Sorry, I forgive me. I wasn't even listening.
you had the
I wasn't even listening.
You had the EEC, European
surprise
Economic
there.
Community. 1992, we had the Maastricht Treaty. In that document was the creation of the European Union, which was completely different from just being about trade.
What's that got to do with anything?
It has, well, that
This is
was
what turned the EU into what it is.
yeah,
What does that have to do with
Which we
anything?
don't want to be part of.
What's that got to do with anything?
because that was one
In
of
fact,
the
we're
main-
already part of it. We've already
It's a
established
federalist
that.
state.
Look, we're talking about the difference between a no-deal Brexit and a deal Brexit. That's what we're talking
But
about.
I think for you, our points are relevant. You say it's irrelevant what direction the EU are going. You're more on the economy, aren't you? 'Cause
Look,
most Remainers I talk to only talk about the.
most people don't know the difference between the customs
Most
union and the single
Remainers
market.
don't know who the president of the EU is.
All right.
They don't even, and they don't know that there's a council, there's a commission. They don't know who Donald Tusk is. You ask them, and they're like, "What? I don't know, but it's racist."
Well, no, that's a complete
but-
straw
but-
man. Well, you
no, but
can't
I'm- no, but
tell me what other people have said. Talk to me.
But you tell me that.
I said the racist.
No,
Who's
no,
racist?
you.
I said anything
No,
racist.
you were telling me that what Brexit is voted for.
What I said to you was
told
this.
me most of them voted for no. You said-
Okay.
Go on.
After the referendum, were people going up to black people and Asian people telling them you're going home? Goodbye.
Okay,
No, were they or
No,
not?
they weren't. No, they weren't.
There
There was one lie said
Answer
about
this.
graffiti on a Polish
The
centre
EU,
in
the EU.
England.
What race is the
turned out
EU?
to be
What?
complete
What
fake
race
news.
is within the EU? What race?
Inter-Polish
European.
The white race.
Yeah, of course.
So white people, the EU is white. We're leaving a white.
I agree. I agree.
So people telling people who are Indian and
It's what?
They're,
It's what?
they're racist.
What do we
They're
do?
racist.
No, they are racist, of course.
But how-
Because they're stupid. They're stupid.
Yeah, and
First thing. Second thing, most people, when you speak about why they want to leave the EU, they talk about our hospitals are overrun, our doctors can't get an appointment, schools are full. Yeah.
See, but you're doing the same as what I did. You're
Who are
saying
you
most
talking
people.
to?
Yeah.
Can you make that statement though? That most people say that.
Oh, you don't agree with that?
Well, you're saying 52% of
You don't
the
believe
population.
our doctors and our hospitals and our thing are overrun by EU immigrants, no? Oh, fantastic. So you have no problem with
And that's got nothing to do with why I voted. There will be more I think, as you were about to point out, post-Brexit, if it ever bloody well happens, there will be more non-white immigration to this country than when we're in the EU. So therefore,
because the rest of the world's going to tell the UK to bend over
the
and take the
statement
visas.
that Brexit is a racist issue clearly is a ridiculous statement.
Or
that people
I've never
voted
said
for
that.
Brexit because of racism.
I've never said that.
Or because of concerns
Listen,
about EU people in the House.
me reporting what Brexiteers have said is not me being racist. It's what them being racist.
But
Not me.
where are you getting your figures from? Where are you getting your evidence from when you say most people or people that voted for Brexit?
Okay.
Where are you getting that from?
Oh, okay.
People that you've spoken to?
For me personally, I've spoken to Brexiteers.
So that is your source.
Someone
of that
talked to me
point.
about Romanian prostitutes. I remember. It was you, wasn't it? Yeah.
So what's wrong with Romanian prostitutes?
I'll give you an example. Yeah. Where I place is overrun with Romanians. Yeah. And to be honest with you,
Where you live, it's overrun with Romanians.
Yeah.
So
And it's a blight.
Yeah.
They're pickpocketing, they're begging, they're
you're talking about Romany. You're not talking about Romanians. You're talking about gypsies.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Have you made sure you do realise that the vast majority of Romanians
Okay,
here
the
are
ones
not
pickpocketing,
gypsies?
the ones pickpocketing,
Not
are not.
Romanian, normal Romanian people.
No, the ones pickpocketing, they're not dressed like
Romany
gypsies.
gypsies.
They're not gypsies.
No, I think you found that out.
Okay, I'm telling you, they're not.
How do
All
you
right.
know? Have you DNA tested them?
We've seen them robbing. We've seen who the people
Oh, I
are.
thought you said they're not. You
Wait a
said they're
minute.
not Romany gypsies.
Okay, how would you know if someone's a Romanian gypsy or not?
You can tell by the contrast in the colour. You can tell because they've got
Yeah,
dark-
they do have a different look,
their
a
skin
different
colour.
phenotype.
Right. I would say the way they dress would be a start.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, shiny shoes and all that.
So you know as well.
Shiny shoes.
Well,
Which
you see
side
the women.
wears shiny
You see the
shoes?
women pickpocketing in Westfield. Yeah,
I've
they're like
got
flipping
I've got
models.
nothing against Romanian people.
Anyway, well, the
But
point
the
here is
freedom
this.
movement
No, but
where
I get
people
it.
can come over with a criminal record,
I get
people
it.
can come over.
See, here's
it's
the irony
other
is
people
this.
that come over.
Do you think leaving the EU is going to improve our immigration policy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Why?
Because we will be able to control who comes here and who we need.
All right.
And it won't be focused on a majority of white continent.
Fantastic. Okay. Can we?
Which is why it's not
all right,
nothing to
Can
do
we
with a
improve
racist
our?
argument.
You know the answer to this. Can we improve our immigration status now whilst being part of the
Yes,
EU?
we could. You
Why
are
aren't
right
we?
to a degree.
We
Because
can.
Britain.
can't we?
Because let me answer. Because for some reason Britain has always applied the letter of the law, the EU law, more strictly than the majority
What's the letter of the EU law?
continental. So for example, the ability for Polish mothers to claim child benefit in Britain, even if their kids are in Poland. I don't believe other EU countries would be so ridiculous to do that. Yet it's claimed that we do it because we're complying with the EU law. So we apply it
We're
more
against EU
literally
law.
to the letter, but France doesn't.
No,
for
but- no,
example.
but you're wrong.
So some is it was. Well, I'm
Right.
agreeing with your point.
No, but you're wrong.
We have applied it within our own control more excessively than many other
No,
EU
you're
countries,
completely wrong.
which is
You're
ridiculous.
the opposite. You're
They'll
the
just
opposite.
get more in benefits.
How are
One
we the
second.
opposite?
That's
I'll
why
tell
How are we the
I'm
opposite?
I'll explain why you're the opposite, yeah, because according to EU law, Article 7 of the People's Charter, any member can come from another member state to another member state, yeah, if they can prove they can support themselves for 3 months and they have health insurance, not become a burden on that society's welfare system. Okay, this is Article 7. We can implement it, which is EU law, but we don't implement it. Now, why don't we implement it? Belgium implement it. Romania implement it.
But that is, in a way, the same point that I was making.
but
that
when-
we implement EU law differently
No, but
to how other
no,
EU
but you
countries
just made you said we
implement it.
you said we implement EU law to the letter when in fact we're
In some
ignoring it.
cases we do.
No, but in this
In
case,
some case, but in other
this case,
cases we do.
In this case, we're ignoring it. Why are we crying about immigration when
Well,
within?
are we?
No.
I'm not.
Tell me about the breaking
I'd be
point
happy for an
poster.
increase in
Tell me about the breaking point poster. What was all that about?
Well, that wasn't either of us.
Leave UK. Wasn't it?
Nobody
Was that with all the brown
That was
faces
Nigel. That
coming
was
over?
Nigel Farage. All the brain
Well,
faces.
does that mean all Brexiteers, all people that voted to leave, are racist or worried about immigration?
No, they are.
Clearly, that's not true. Because here's two examples
So
there
they're
that
clear.
are.
So are you happy with to stay in the single market and have the full freedoms?
Elongate that letter.
The full freedoms
shorten the letter.
travel, no.
Movement, work.
Not of movement, no.
Why?
Minuscule
Why do we need
way
it?
of pronunciation.
We didn't have it before when we
No,
joined
but no,
the
but-
when we joined the EEC.
So why do you have a problem with it? If you haven't got a problem
And
with
yet
immigration?
we could still. I still went.
You ain't got a
You're
problem
of the
with
same generation. I went interrailing. I bought one ticket. I could travel all around Europe. Okay, I had to get the different currencies. I had to get lira. I had to get francs,
Yeah.
etc. That was the only difference.
Well, you haven't got a problem with immigration, man.
fabrication.
I don't have a problem with immigration, but I don't want free movement.
biased
I want
immigration.
managed immigration.
All right, but we don't manage it.
Which is
But we're not-
obviously
but
anyone. would
We're
want
not even
managed.
managing it now when we can.
Well, and that's the point I said a minute ago.
No, but
that
within the EU.
we could have managed it more within the EU. Yes.
So
that
why
is
do we need
correct.
to leave to manage
Because
it?
I don't want to leave because of immigration.
So why do you want to leave?
Sovereignty.
What does that mean?
In control of our 100% in control of all of our legislature.
What do you mean? Tell me something
How
the
do
EU.
you not
all right,
know
tell
what
me a
that
law the
means?
UK has tried to implement that the EU have vetoed. Name one.
So, what law the UK has
Yeah,
implemented?
something that we've tried to do as a sovereign nation that the EU has said no, you're not doing that.
There's lots of EU legislation that we've implemented that
No,
we
no.
would not have implemented if it wasn't for the EU.
Give me an example.
Well, I mean, there's oodles within employment law. Working time directive is one
Oh, all right,
obvious
so- all right,
example
all right.
of employment
So
law.
the EU,
And that says a
I get that, I get
48-hour
that.
working
So
week.
what you're saying is the EU protect our workers more than the UK does.
No, because in other respects, so maternity pay, sick pay, holiday entitlement, minimum wage, Britain pays more than the EU dictates. So in some areas we do more, which is why the Corbyn line of, oh, you know, the Tories, they want to crash employment law is absolutely bollocks, because some of our employment
No, no.
law is better than the EU
Do you believe
dictate.
we can make
But
laws
the
separate
EU
to the EU?
We can't make laws that go against it.
No, exactly.
Can we not? Can we not?
exactly. Because
All right.
we couldn't force everyone to work 60
What law?
hours a week. I'm not saying we would want
We want
to.
to. That's protection, isn't it? See, the EU.
But I want to be the master of our destiny for that.
Right.
Me personally, but Britain. Not the unelected, the fraudulent
So you're saying, all right,
federal
that's fine,
entity of
that's
the
fine.
EU.
So you believe a
I don't want
all
them
right.
to tell us what
So
to
if,
do.
so if a country gets a corrupt government, you think it should be at the mercy of that corrupt government to do as it pleases? In its sovereignty.
That's what the EU is.
No, it's
Very
not.
corrupt and very fraudulent. It hasn't even ever submitted its financial accounts. No private business would be allowed
Who
to
told you that?
continue. Oh, can you well, point me in the direction
Jordan,
of their audited
Jordan,
accounts.
correct him, please.
Point me in the
Just correct
direction
him.
of their audited
I brought this
accounts.
argument. I brought this
Listen, he
argument.
put this argument to me.
Because
I sent him
they
something
haven't
within 1
signed their
minute.
accounts off in 15 years.
And was that true
It
or
turns
not?
out they have.
They have that.
Show us the audited account.
I've shown him.
Well,
Where?
Jordan and
No, I've shown Jordan.
Both of you are arguing for the EU. I mean,
Against the EU.
against the EU. Sorry, but you do know within the British parliamentary system we have the House of Lords, which is unelected, and they
Yeah,
need to
absolutely,
say
we need
you're
to do
against
we
that.
need to do a lot of improvement.
So you
the
should be happy with the
democracy-
devolution
We
of
need
Scotland.
PR. We need a highly reformed Lords, if not a completely
Should Scotland be
disbanded
allowed
Lords.
independence?
It's their choice if they
Oh,
want
you
to.
think they should
Let
be
them.
allowed? Oh, that's fine. So you want your country
Glad you
back, but a
agree
little
with
bit
that.
smaller? Is that what it is?
Ridiculous.
No?
But isn't it ridiculous that the SNP,
What happens to
the
Northern
SNP
Ireland
want
under
to break
Brexit?
the union of the United Kingdom, but they want to stay in the EU?
No,
It's
no,
complete
no, no, no,
an
no.
illogical
No, 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 that's
position to
incorrect.
have. I want to be in that
That's
union, but
incorrect.
not in that
No,
union.
that's incorrect.
It's ridiculous.
No, that's incorrect.
It's hypocrisy.
That's incorrect. Scotland wanted to remain in the EU because they benefit
But
from
they
being
didn't
members.
want. But Nicola Sturgeon
They
tells
did.
us she doesn't want to be in the United Kingdom.
No.
Which would you choose?
Who will?
The mother of all parliaments, this mother of all
Scotland voted to remain,
democracies,
60%.
or the EU?
So Scotland
You
voted
weren't
to remain in
listening,
the
were you?
EU, and it's being dragged out of the EU.
Well, we're one collective. That's like saying Barking voted to stay in, so therefore we should stay in because Barking chose. Scotland is the same part, the same United
No, but that's the
Kingdom.
whole principle.
You can't pick off geographical areas and say, well, they wanted to stay, so we can't leave because they wanted to
So
stay.
you say Scotland
because
should-
they're part of the United
according to
Kingdom.
your sovereignty,
you can't divide it
Does
up.
Scotland allow their sovereignty?
Is London allowed their
No,
sovereignty?
Scotland.
Is London? How? It's part of the United Kingdom. No election, no referendum is done via localities, i.e. they can reach a different conclusion to that.
Scotland voted to be part of the UK in their referendum.
Exactly.
No.
So why suddenly on this one subject, you're arguing that Scotland should be able to do its own thing on this one subject?
What do you mean?
Well,
you're
you're saying
arguing,
that Scotland,
right?
but you're just saying Scotland don't want to leave.
No, Scotland voted to remain, didn't they?
Yes, that's
Northern
what I just
Ireland-
said.
Northern
that's what I
Ireland
just
voted
said.
remain.
But what about the Isle of Wight? What about Barking? Where do you draw the boundaries when you're analysing the results of the
You
referendum?
don't recognise Scotland as a country?
But why, so you're saying they should be allowed a different outcome to the referendum?
No, but you...
Even though it was a national
No,
referendum.
well, I'm trying to understand how you differentiate.
Well, I'm trying to understand
Do you
how
believe
you-
Scotland is a country of its own right or
No,
not?
they're part of the
They're
UK.
not-
They're part of the
They're
UK.
part of the
They're
United
part of the
They've got a
UK.
parliament, haven't they?
They have the BBC. They
And they've got
share
their
the
parliament.
military.
And they've got different courts.
Yeah, there are certain
And they've got
local
different
things
laws.
that are
They've got different laws,
devolved.
haven't they?
They have some things that are
So they have
devolved,
different
other
laws.
things that are not.
So they have different
in
laws.
some respects, not in other respects.
So they have different laws.
In some respects, you don't listen. In some
I did.
respects, but not others.
Well, that's a yes.
No, it's a yes and a no.
Hamza, are you assuming
because
that
it's
they're
more
going to choose?
nuanced.
They will choose the EU over
Game
England.
of poker again, isn't it? It's
But that's an
quite
assumption.
The
isn't it?
Scottish one.
Yeah. Because they may not. Because people thought they wanted to break away before, and they
It's annoying when
voted
State
stay.
Islam.
In the referendum where Scotland was going to leave the UK, they stayed.
No, but there wasn't a no, because the Scottish
referendum.
referendum initially was before the referendum about the EU.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And they were
When they
told,
started
Scotland was told, we're not leaving the EU.
Yeah, true.
And then as soon as they voted to remain part of the UK, then the referendum came.
But do you think you can make the assumption that just because Scotland voted to remain, that they're all of a sudden going to want to leave the UK?
Not want to leave. They've already done a poll.
Well, you're saying that if
They said they want to stay in the EU, and obviously we voted out. Are you saying that now they'll definitely want to
Yes.
break away? But that's an assumption.
if
You can't make that from-
Are there any polls?
there's a
on
caveat.
that?
There's a caveat. If they can remain
that
as
wasn't
part
in
of
their
the
vote,
EU.
was it? That
No,
wasn't in their vote.
no.
It didn't say if England
They
leaves
couldn't,
the
could
point
they?
is
The
this.
EU's already confirmed they couldn't.
Well, it depends if they're unified with Ireland,
Well, it
doesn't
depends who you listen to in the EU, but the EU has said categorically Scotland ain't going to be
I'm
able
pretty
to
sure
stay.
if Ireland and Scotland made a union, I'm pretty sure they'd be
Ireland and Scotland are union.
Potentially.
The north or south of Ireland.
well, if no deal Brexit, it'll be unified, isn't it?
Another prediction.
What's going to happen?
I doubt it'll be
Prediction
unified. I've been doubting it'll be
Do you ignore
unified. I've been
facts and
doubting it'll be. Listen to you. You pick your facts and figures. I doubt very much that it's going to be unifying over the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Well, Scotland.
No, Northern and South
So
Ireland.
what happens in a no deal Brexit with Ireland, Northern Ireland?
We look around at the entire perimeter of Europe. It's, Northern Ireland and Ireland is not the only land border that the EU.
No, but they've got the Good Friday
has.
Agreement in place, enshrined in law.
Yeah, but how does that change the fact that all the other borders, the border of Switzerland, have you never driven between France and Switzerland,
Who, me? No.
or any other border of the EU?
But you know why you can do that?
Because of technology, because of
Because they're in the single.
arrangements.
Because they're in the single market.
And
Anyway,
not every border of the EU is in
Switzerland
the.
is.
Yeah, but not every border
so
of the EU.
which country are you saying? Not in the EU.
Look
Which
at
country?
When you get home, look at a map.
Which
and you
country?
can
All right.
see.
Tell me which country, which is not in the single market, that you can just drive
That
across
has-
this border.
Norway.
There you go.
No, we are in the single market. All right. Name a country not in the single market.
They left the EU, but they're still.
They're not in the customs union. Okay. First thing you understand, right?
I'm sure they're.
Switzerland.
Sweden.
Switzerland.
Sweden.
Sweden are not in the single market.
Not Swindon. Sweden.
Sweden. What is this Sweden? Sweden not in the
Sounded
single
like
market.
it.
Yes, and
That-
both.
accent.
Sweden not in the single
Remember
market.
that? The accent. Remember
Sweden
that?
not in the single
Remember
market.
the accent.
Sweden not in the single
Remember
market.
the
Sweden not in the single market.
Very boring, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. Right. So here's the point, you see. You've got to understand the difference between the customs union and the single market. Some people think it's the same thing, but it's not. So see, I'll explain to you. You can't. Look, the customs union means you're in a union with the EU, and you can't negotiate with other countries. Right. The single market is the full freedoms. You know, the freedom of movement, freedom of work and such. Okay. By being in the single market, you can cross the border. Free movement of people because you're in the single market. So, for example, Turkey are not in the single market, but they're in the customs union.
Sorry.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah? They're not in the customs union. Therefore, Turkey can use the EU trade deals, but they can't have free movement of people. Do you understand? Right. Now, right now, we as members of the EU have a privileged position. Yeah, we have a deal that no one else has.
What about North
Yeah.
Macedonia?
We're not
What
part of
about North
Schengen.
Macedonia?
We don't have to be part of the
And we're
Euro.
hated for that, aren't
Serbia,
we?
Turkey,
We're hated
All right,
for
all
that.
right.
Bosnia and Herzegovina,
No, Turkey,
Montenegro, Serbia.
So what you're saying to me, you can drive from the
just using-
EU state to Turkey without crossing borders. Shut up.
Well, what about Montenegro? What about Bosnia? What about Serbia?
Okay,
What about North
okay.
Macedonia?
Do you understand how economy works? If you're going from one trade area to another, you have to pay tariffs and such, so you have to have
Do
stops
you know
at
how
borders.
technology works?
Yes.
Do you know how technology
Yes.
works? You do.
Yeah.
But you do.
Where?
Exactly. Someone did that in America
can't
the
cross
other
into
day.
Turkey
didn't they?
without
Got
realising.
into
No,
trouble.
but you can between Northern and Ireland.
No, you can now. You can now because we're in the EU.
And you can in the future.
So if you have a no-deal Brexit, here's the problem you see. If you have a no-deal Brexit, listen, if you have a no-deal Brexit, Southern Ireland will be in the EU, different trades
No argument's been
unions.
presented.
Sorry,
On your channel, man.
Northern Ireland will be with the British.
Between Switzerland
Take it back, dude.
Switzerland's in the single market.
yeah.
So if they're in the single market,